Hey, in this interview, we're going to be interviewing Jesse Landers with the Georgia Songbird podcast. And I'm Chris with Picks and Sticks Music Studio. And if you're new to this channel, we're an all things music channel, and we like to support our local artists and bands. If you enjoy this interview and you want to see more of them, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And if you really enjoy and like this video, please like it, because not only does liking this video help the channel, it also helps the artists and bands that we interview. More likes the video gets, more exposure those artists will get. So I'd really appreciate if you did that. Um, so I'm very excited to welcome to the channel Jesse Landers, and I'm going to bring him in. I got to unmute him and all that stuff, and bring him in. There he is. Hey, thank you so much for coming here and doing this interview with me.
Hey, Chris. Thank you for having me.
Let's get started by you just introducing yourself,
Sure.
short, quickly.
Okay. I'll be as short as I can. My
No,
name is,
I just
well, I have a tendency to kind of ramble sometimes. So my name is Jesse Landers. I have a podcast, the Georgia Songbirds. It's a radio station podcast. I'm also a songwriter, and I have a band called Yes Ma'am, which stands for Middle Aged Men. So I do everything that I can to play. As you can see, right now I'm in my studio that I'm building. I've got drum kits and guitars, and I just keep running out of time.
That's awesome. So listeners, ask questions and stuff in the chat, and we'll get those answered. I'm not sure if he's with us tonight because he said he wasn't feeling quite well, but Scott Reeves is our moderator. And we'll get your you will get your questions answered. Doing something a little different today. I got the background behind us turned off. I don't know if that's better or worse. Give me your opinion on that, and next time I can turn the lights back on. On a quick update on the channel, I've been just really busy, but I want to start posting a little bit more videos, and I really want to start getting into doing more interviews here shortly. I would love to do a couple a month. So if you're a band out there that wants to do an interview with me, let me know, and we'll do that. We're going to do some icebreaker questions first. What is your favorite flavor of ice cream?
I'm very vanilla, really. I don't like ice cream besides vanilla. I'm very boring, I guess you would say. I don't like chocolate.
Toppings or anything?
No, I just like straight vanilla. Like I don't even like if you get like a shake or something, people put whipped cream on it. I won't even drink that. I just like straight vanilla.
Okay. So what is your favorite sport to watch and favorite team?
I'm a big football fan. I've been playing football when I was a kid. I tried to get into college and I ended up couldn't because life took a different turn. But the Georgia Bulldogs. I've always been a Bulldogs fan. College is kind of what I haven't watched NFL in a long time, but I love college football. I also love wrestling too. I watch that. I know some people can't consider that a sport, but I do.
Hey, I mean, I couldn't do it. It takes a lot of athletic ability and coordination and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So guys, I'll have this time stamped. He is performing tonight. We're going to give that a shot. His internet where he's from is not the best, so we're going to work with it. But we did a little sound check before the interview started, and it sounded pretty good. So keep your fingers crossed that comes through. If it doesn't, my apologies. But that's you just bear with what internet you have. If you could play anywhere, where would it be?
I would love to play at the Ryman. First memory I have is playing as a kid as the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville. I've been there on the stage, but never as an artist. More as just a tourist.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen it from the outside. I've never seen it from the inside, but I would definitely love to go just see something there. Mm-hmm. It's a beautiful building. If you could meet any artist, who would it be?
Dead or alive?
Yep.
I would love to meet Elvis. when I was a kid, I used to, and people have heard the podcast has heard me do it. I love mimicking Elvis, and I was always kind of pretty good at it. My mom would make me do American Trilogy when we do like karaoke stuff every night. Every night.
That's awesome. Here's Scott Reeves. He is here. He said, please post your questions to Jesse here in the chat window, and we'll get those answered. So how'd you get started in music?
It started music wise was I was young, used to write poems, and to get out of essays. So I wanted to get out of. I could never write an essay, and my grandfather was a great guitar player. He always carried his guitar everywhere he went. So he taught me the basic chords before he died, and then I was like 14, and then once I got to about 20, I actually took a couple lessons just to get it a better understanding of what I was doing, and just went from there.
So you want to talk about a little bit writing process? I mean, you usually use guitar more than any instrument, or is that the only
Yeah,
instrument you know is pretty much guitar? Or you, I guess you,
yeah. I'm teaching myself piano, but as far as writing, I wrote with the guitar, and I've always and I've said this 1,000 times, and it seems to be. Now, I'm not the only one I found that it worked this way, but I was always horrible with time, and it was more because I was writing my own songs than anybody else's. I always hated covers when early on in it because I couldn't do it. I couldn't get the timing, and it sounded weird to me. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to write my own music, play it, and then when I'd get in front of like a drum kit or something, or a drummer, I could get it right. But in that initial process, it was always guitar and always me trying to figure out how to make it go somewhere.
so what do you think the biggest challenge was? The guitar part or the singing part?
Um, they're probably equally bad. uh, the guitar makes me more nervous. It just, for some reason, I'm more self conscious about the way I play guitar than about the way I sing because I know my voice is what it is. It's not going to change. It's growly. It's rough. I can't change that, but I can always get better playing guitar. So I practice, and I mean, I would when I first started, I'd play and my fingers would bleed just to get the habit, and now I'm learning to do. And this is 20, 30 years of playing, learning to do the pentatonic scales and learning stuff like that. So I always try to get better playing guitar.
So what do you enjoy more when you're writing your songs? Yeah, what do you enjoy most about it? I guess.
When I'm writing,
Yeah.
when I take it to the studio, because it's if I get it to the studio, that's what I love because it sounds so much different than what you completely imagine. And my producers told me this. I have musical Tourette because I'll put weird stuff in it all the time. And I love taking a song that I play only on an acoustic and hearing what it can become because to me that's where the magic is. And with my voice, I'll write songs that don't even fit my voice. And I know as a songwriter, I've learned to let that go and let somebody else sing it because they can do a lot better and it's going to sound better if they sing it than if I sing it. But that's my favorite part of it is getting to the studio because the other part, my wife gets mad at me if I'm sitting there playing the same song for an hour, 2 hours, and it's just the verse and the chorus, and I'm trying to figure out where I want to go. Because some songs take 15, 20 minutes. Other songs take hours. I've been working on one song for years.
That's awesome. My wife does the same thing. Like when I'm trying to learn how to play a song and like, you know, a song will have many riffs in it, right? And I'll just be learning that one riff and I'll play it for a week before I get it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, can you play something else?" I'm like, "Well, I'm trying to learn this. Can you do it somewhere else?"
Yep. I wake up like at 3 o'clock in the morning sometimes with a music idea, and so I try to be quiet, but I'm not very quiet apparently when I'm playing and singing.
Well, once you get the studio build, you hopefully that helps with that.
Except the bedroom is right there next to me.
Oh,
It's a shared wall.
oh, little triple drywall. The drywall is what gives you that keeps the sound from going through.
Hmm.
So more layers of drywall, the better. Um,
Yep.
Obviously, if you could isolate it, have like offset studs where they're not touching each other, that would be even better. But it takes up room and it costs more. But
Yeah, when this
more
gets finished, it'll be a barn door back there and like a log cabin frame all around. That's what I
oh,
want for
nice.
it.
But people are, oh, just use insulation. I'm like, insulation doesn't do anything. It's the mass of the wall is what keeps the sound. The insulation just keeps it from reverberating and bouncing back and forth. But anyway, what do you enjoy more, the singing part or the guitar playing when you're playing live?
When I'm playing live, like I said, to me, the guitar makes me more nervous, but I would rather play guitar. Like with the band, now I have to be the singer because we lost our singer, so I'm doing an EP. We're going to do one in my kind of style, which is more southern rock. But I enjoy playing the guitar more than singing on stage. I just do because once you get in and when you click with the band and it's going great. When it's bad, it's bad. But when it's good, it's clicking good, and it's like, all right, perfect. That's what I enjoy.
Nice. You kind of touched on this when I asked who you would want to meet, but who are some of your biggest influences?
Music wise, I grew up listening to the Eagles. I love the Eagles. A lot of my stuff when I was learning how to play guitar, and I can't read music. I can kind of read it, but I don't have the patience to sit there and learn it. So what I would do is I would take songs and get like the tabs and I'd play it like a lot of people do. And the Eagles were always the one I would go to. So I love the Eagles. Gary Allen. I love Gary Allen. George Strait. Hank Jr. That's kind of where my John Cafferty. That's who I actually modeled the band after, was John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band. That's kind of who influenced me.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder how many artists actually know how to read music.
I don't think a lot. I'm surprised because I asked that question too, and I'm very surprised that they don't. And I guess I shouldn't be because I think some of the best musicians play by ear.
I knew how to do a little bit. Scott Reeves and we both took a guitar class together, and that's how actually we learned how we met in high school. My sophomore year and his freshman year, we took guitar class together, and that instructor, he made us learn how to sight read, and you'd have to learn the song, and then go to the piano and sit there and play it on guitar in front of him, and he'd grade you, and some of us would like write down the tabs like above it, and he'd get so mad at us. So like for about a year I knew how to do it, and then after that class it just went out the window.
I think it's a good idea to know how to do it. For me personally, I think if I learn it the other way around, I think it would take some of the passion because you're kind of training and just do the same thing over and over. And it's not, some people get burned out by that doing it that way. I think now if I learn to do it afterwards, it would help me with like the theory and stuff, which is, I have no clue about the music theory.
And I think it would have been a lot easier if I learned to read music, on the piano instead of guitar. Because, that's the biggest challenge of guitar, I think, is, remembering all the notes on, it's not as easy as piano. You got 7 notes and you just move it over one, octave, and there's those 7 notes again. In guitar, it's all over the board, So, so you want to play a song?
Sure. I'll play a song. I'll actually play one, that's going to be on the new EP. It's not out yet. I haven't even took it to the studio, but it's one that I wrote. It's called Fire in His Veins. It's about Robert Johnson. Kind of took the story about the old blues man that sold his soul to the devil. That story. Okay. So that's what I took. So I'll play that one for you guys.
Yeah, that sounds good.
It's odd, Chris. I'm not used to me having to play. Good?
Yep.
I've been walking a tightrope. I've been chasing a dream. Everywhere I turn, I burn it down. Soak it up in gasoline. Take 1 step forward, take 2 steps back. Like staring in a mirror, but the mirror keeps staring past. Even the devil don't want my soul. He's all filled up with rock and roll. A blues man has nowhere to go. When there's fire in his veins, but his heart's turned ice cold. I feel like an old clock, right twice a day. Just dust collecting memorabilia to throw away. But I keep on ticking, keep wasting time. When they open up the curtains, Lord, I feel the shine. Even the devil don't want my soul. He's all filled up with rock and roll. A blues man has nowhere to go. When there's fire in his veins, but his heart's turned ice cold. Even the devil don't want my soul. He's all filled up with rock and roll. A blues man has nowhere to go. When there's fire in his veins, but his heart's turned ice cold. When there's fire in his veins, but his heart's turned ice cold.
That was awesome. I know you can't hear me right now, but that was really good.
My strap came off.
Oh, that's funny that you say that. I know I was just saying also that was really good when you didn't have your headphones on, but that was really good. That was probably one of our top ones, I think. That was really good.
Thank you.
The sound quality, I think, came out pretty well. We'll find out after this interview, but
right.
The video glitched a little bit, but the sound was perfect. And man, you can sing, dude. You should be the lead singer all the time.
well, thank you. But like, if I try to do a ballad, I scare the hell out of people. I'm in a certain lane, and I know where I'm at.
Right. But it's funny that you're about the strap. I know you interviewed Grounds Crew, and I interviewed them as well. But during my interview, they talked about he was in the middle of a performance and his strap fell off. He about dropped the whole guitar on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're funny guys. I like Chip.
Yeah, they're really great too. They're just very, very nice people. So.
I'm actually getting the Relics come up here too. They're coming up here to do an interview because I know you do those too because you do a lot of bands, and I want to thank you too for doing that because a lot of people will not help other artists, and I don't know why. And I'm glad that you do that and you put them on your channel. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, and that's a great segue. Let's start talking about the Georgia's Songbird podcast. I always have to catch myself there because I always want to say Soundbirds, but it's Songbirds. Yep. So let's start talking about that. How did it get started?
Well, that actually started in 2019, and I was playing open mics and I was playing where I could. The band was like 2 years old, so we wasn't really going anywhere playing gigs or anything. We did a couple because it was just me and Jordan. And I know some songwriter buddies in Nashville, and I did a songwriter retreat with Keith Burns and Steve Dean. If you guys know, Keith Burns was in Trick Pony, and Steve Dean has wrote for Reba McEntire, Alabama, Rodney Carrington. He's big in the name of songwriting. And I actually got to write a song with him. Great guy, one of the nicest guys I ever met. And I started thinking, I'm like, if local, because I started thinking local first. I was like, if local artists and songwriters can get heard, how can I help them? And I knew podcasts were taking off, and I didn't know anything. I really didn't know anything about podcasts because I never listened to one in my life before I started this podcast. And now I listen to a couple, but I'm so busy doing this one, I don't have time to listen to the other ones.
Right.
But I wanted to get local artists heard because I think there were so many talented singers and songwriters that were just out doing these open mics, and it was crazy to me. I was like, well, what can I do to help? So I was like, all right, I'm gonna get into this podcast thing. I'm gonna figure it out, and I did, and it took off so much that I started thinking about how can I do other things? How can I expand the podcast? And I had then I had some people reaching from Nashville, and I had people reach from Canada and the UK. I've had people from Australia reach out to me, and I won't interview any of them. I don't care what journey they're on. They could just be starting. They could be Grammy nominated. If they want to come on the show and talk to me, I'll be more than happy to help them and listen to what they have to say and promote them the best I can. Because, I mean, I do the podcast. We do the interviews. We do album reviews now. We do the radio station has started. And, of course, we got the weekly countdown we do.
Right. And you have something that kind of helps you out a little bit too as well?
Somebody that helps me?
I thought there was somebody you had every once in a while you do a series with or something.
Yeah, that's the Have You Heard series. That's
okay.
My bassist Jordan. That's one of my favorite ones because I don't script anything. Everybody asks me, I got my basic questions that we ask everybody, but I never script it. So with that one, it's funny because we try to, like, he doesn't listen to music as much as I do. So he will go on to these websites, like local websites, and pull up these artists. And if you don't know Jordan, Jordan is my bassist, my best friend. He's been playing with me since the beginning. He has some very unique taste in music. So he'll bring stuff from rap. He brought this country rap one time. He did some kind of folk music. He did EDM. And it's his personality, because even when we're on stage, he tries to get me to laugh during the performance every time. And he'll catch me every now and then, and it'll mess me up during a song. But like we'll be listening, and I'll play, for example, I think the last one we did, like Teddy Swims, and we had some local, like a Mary Kate Farmer. And then he brings out this guy who sang, I can't remember his name now, but the song was St. Patrick Never Drank. It was like a bard. And I'm like, where did you find this? So it's fun. I love that series because you never know what you're going to get. Literally, we don't know. He sits down and he's looking on his phone as I'm going through mine, because I try to be a little bit prepared. He doesn't. He just sits there and flies by the seat of his pants. It makes it fun.
Right. You guys do a great job, and you guys have a big variety of stuff on there.
Oh yeah.
I love listening to the interviews, because it kind of helps me on mine.
Mm-hmm.
I get ideas, and I also, I've found a couple of people like Sarah Faith. I heard her on yours, and
Yep.
I can't remember
Yeah, she's big in Nashville now. I met her at an open mic in Nashville. And that's when the podcast was kind of starting. I played a set with her, and I said, hey, you want to come on a podcast sometime? And then she said, yeah. So she came on, and then we did Georgia versus Tennessee, the first one when we did the Georgia series. Like we had Georgia versus Kentucky now, but the Georgia versus Tennessee, and she was one of the ones that came on too.
Yeah, she's really great. She's awesome, really nice, down to earth. And so talk about that. You were talking about the competitions and stuff, and I know you just finished one up, and how'd that get started, and how often do you do those?
What we got started was actually 3 years ago. And it got started because of COVID. So maybe it was 2 years ago. I'm on the third one. So I guess it got started 2 or 3 years. But I wanted to get, I knew a lot of Nashville people, so I wanted to get a competition of, and I'll use quotations for competition because it's not really a competition. It is and it isn't. But I wanted to put 8 songwriters from Georgia against 8 songwriters from any state. And the first year was Tennessee because I knew a lot of songwriters in Tennessee. I said, okay, well, this is the easiest way to set it up. And I'd originally planned it to be a live event. And I had the venue set up, and I had it where we were all going to meet in Nashville and play. And I had everybody set up, and COVID hit and things got shut down. I was like, okay, what do I do now? Because now I don't have a venue. So how can I continue to do this? so we pushed it back until I could figure out how to do online, because that's when people started doing Facebook Lives, and they wanted to. That's the only way they could get out in front of people. It's like, okay, I'll try this. I'm horrible with technology. I am, and people who know me know I am. My son is just. I send him to school for computer programming. He helps me. He has to, but I had to learn how to do this. So I did that with Tennessee first, and it become an annual thing now because it was so big with Tennessee. I got so much positive feedback from it, and I got so many new likes and followers. I was like, okay, well, let's do other states. So I knew a couple from North Carolina. So last year we did North Carolina, and North Carolina won. But I met a lot of talented songwriters that I didn't know. Like Sydney Rose Ray, she was one. She kind of helped me get a few people. But there was William Neesmith. He was amazing. I still talk to him. He's so funny. Rebecca Todd, she won. She's amazing. And then this year it came down to Kentucky or Alabama. And I just had Kentucky reach out first. So I said, we'll do Kentucky. And we're in the finals now. So the finals will actually be tomorrow. It's 2 Kentucky artists, so Kentucky's going to win. It's Josh Mitchum and Clark Sexton. And they're both super talented songwriters. And it's just so much fun. I love doing this. I would do it. I thought about doing it twice a year, but I was like, no, I don't have the time, because it is a lot of work to put this together.
Yeah, I noticed that. And like, I see them get, on Instagram where they do their live thing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So how's that work? So because it's through your account, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, what I had to do for that is because I had to set some kind of guidelines for them. So it's okay, let's make it few rounds. So the first round they get 2 songs, and I wanted all originals in the beginning. And the second round is 3 songs, and then they get 30-minute set. And then this set, the finals, is a 45-minute set. So what I had to do was I had to make them administrators on my Facebook page,
Right.
and that way they could post on it, but they couldn't do anything else. They couldn't like change anything or
that's cool,
or mess with it, but they could post their videos. And I was like, God, I'll give you guys access to that. I said, don't spam me with everything. I said, but you can send whatever you want, to keep it reasonable. And when I set up the point system, I was like, this. It works for everybody, because they get like a point for view, because everybody can view it, and then interaction is a key. So they get 2 points for like and 3 points for share, and everybody's sharing their song, but they're also sharing the Georgia Songbirds page, and so people can look at other songwriters and they can look at other artists, and it helps everybody.
Yeah, that's really smart.
I get those every now and then. That's why I get lucky.
But yeah, that's pretty good. It's kind of a win-win for everybody, and yeah. How'd you come up with the name?
The Georgia Songbirds?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about. The first time it was actually called. What was it? Music Scene, but it was SEEN. That was the first episode of Music Scene. I don't know if a lot of people know that. And then there was a guy in Canton that was telling me he had helped me at the Oak House to get some of the songwriters and stuff set up. And he said, but you got to change the name. I was like, God, I'll think about it. And I said, the Bluebird. For whatever reason, the Bluebird Cafe came to my mind. It's like, I could do the Georgia Bluebirds. I'm like, nah. I said, if I do that, I'll get calls from Tennessee if I do the Georgia Bluebirds. I said, the Georgia Songbirds. It fits. They're singers, they're songwriters. Let's just call it the Georgia Songbirds. And it just took off from there.
Yeah. What's your favorite part of doing the podcast?
Oh God, there's that's a hard question. I think that I love meeting new songwriters. I think the Have You Heard is my favorite segment that I do, because like I said, it's so much fun just to goof around with Jordan and talk music. But I love seeing songwriters that come on the show that had just started out, and then where they're at. Like you're talking about Sarah Faith. When she came on the show, she was just starting out. She was she was from Michigan, so she's doing stuff around Nashville. And she just did the national anthem at the Alabama college football game. Not the national title, but when they took on Cincinnati, she did the thing in Dallas. She did the national anthem. I love seeing the growth of the songwriters that come on, because it is a journey, and if you have the courage to continue to take those steps, you may not see the dream that you envision, but you will see progress and you will see something that's worth it, I think.
Yeah, you do such a great job with it too, and just so many great artists. And I haven't heard one on your channel that's I say channel, but your podcast um, that hasn't been great. So um, talk about the top 10 countdown, because that's really interesting too. How you have that, and
Yep.
you can go in and vote for your top 10 um, every week, right?
Yep. That was I started that again, it was during COVID because I couldn't get as many guests to come up here, and I get that because they had nobody knew what was going on. People were getting sick, they were dying. I had family. I had an aunt that died from it, so I understand. So I said, but I need to get content out somehow. I said, let's do a countdown. Everybody loves countdowns. I think it was like a March or something. Like they was about to do like the Sweet 16 or something, and I'm like, how long can I do it? Let's do 14 songs because that's about an hour. It kind of comes out to an hour. And then I had to figure out, okay, well, how do I get it to vote? Because I don't want to be responsible for voting. There's too many songs that are great, and mine is one opinion. So I said, let's put it into a voting system. And the easiest way I could do it would be like, okay, I'll introduce 4 new songs each week, and the top 10 that get voted on can move forward. And I started it out, and then I realized that some people have such crazy fan bases that they'll never get out of the countdown if I don't find a way to do it. So I was like, okay, if you can last 12 weeks in this countdown, I'll officially retire your song. And that's kind of one of the only rules I have is I only let 1 song per artist in the countdown at a time. I don't want to oversaturate a countdown with 3 songs from the same artist. I don't think that's fair. It's about getting everybody heard. And so as I did this, I was like, okay. And we've had 3,000, 4,000 votes at a time. It fluctuates depending on how crazy, like I said, their fan bases are. But it averages between, I think the lowest is like 400 votes. I think that's kind of where we are now for the lowest.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's a lot of overseas. It's huge in Italy, in Europe, all that stuff. They're really in Canada too. But I was like, okay, let's do that. And people started sending me so many songs. I've got like 300 songs sitting in my iTunes library that need to be played. I haven't even played them because, like I said, I won't put them in but 1 song per artist at a time. And if they've been in for 12 weeks, I'm not going to turn around the next week and put their new song in. I just don't think that's fair. So I wanted to make it as fair as possible. And so I wanted them to have a chance to get heard. And as I did this, I started thinking like, well, there's tons of other online radio stations. Let me see how many people I can get to play it. And I started reaching out, and I wanted WFMC Jams. They were playing it for a while. They had some computer problems now, so they don't play it right now, but they may come back and play it. Indie Music Radio plays it. So Indie Music Radio USA, they play the countdown. They premiere it every week. They've been with me for the longest, so I let them premiere it. Moni's New Music out of the UK plays it. Cosmic Radio, they're in the UK too. They play it. And then it was Exile Free Radio was playing, but he had to shut his radio station down. And of course, the Georgia Songbirds radio. But I don't even play the countdown sometimes on there because I send it everywhere else. But I wanted to get as many people, and I still reach out to other stations. I wanted to get as many people listening as I could from all over the world. And like I said, I'm a songwriter. I play too. So I put my songs in there every now and then. I don't saturate it with mine because I mean, I have a ton of songs, but I like, it's not fair for me to do that because I don't even vote. I just put it on there and I let everybody else vote. And the way that you get votes is you have to, again, we talked a little while ago, interaction. If you don't ask somebody to vote for me or, hey, can you share this? Can you listen? Then nobody's going to do it for you.
All right. And when you do your podcasts that are, the top 10 countdown and you play their songs and stuff, how's that? This might be a question for off air, but how does that work with copyright and all that stuff?
Well, for independent artists, the way the copyright of it works is they have to give you permission. That's why I can't play it in a countdown unless you give me permission. And that's a good point because you have to send me, if you don't have a PRO, you're not going to get paid regardless. You just not that you got to set that stuff up. There's whole kinds of studies and laws and stuff, and you're welcome to talk to me about it. I do. One of the new features is I will help you distribute your songs and get you set up a PRO if you don't have one. But if you don't have PR, you're not gonna get hurt. But with independent artists, the way it works is they send it to me. So they basically give me. I don't make any profit off of it because I don't make any money. So I'm just
Right.
giving them exposure. But they have to send it to me, and you need to tag it. If you do it, the metadata that they talk about, you need to at least have your the song title, the artist, and the album, so that when it's played on these online stations that report it, it will be caught by the PROs, and you'll get whatever little bit of money that they give to you.
Right. No, I noticed that. Like when I do my YouTube interviews like this, we don't do it every interview, but when we have somebody play, every once in a while somebody will do it, a copyright claim or whatever, which is all great because I'm not getting paid anyway, and
Right.
I hope they're getting something from it. So I was just curious with that, because
that's all that
yours,
is.
yeah, because yours is on Spotify and
Mhm.
iHeartRadio, right? And
Yep. The iHeart, which iHeart was funny because the iHeart to me is a big deal. iHeart is probably the biggest one to get onto, and I've asked before and I got turned down. But as I grew by doing the Georgia versus series and doing the other reviews and the countdowns, and my numbers started going up, then they said, "Oh, okay, now you have enough numbers to be on. Sure, come on, put your radio up. We'll play it."
right, it's funny how that works, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that's a good segue as well. Like, let's talk about all the places they can, listen to your podcast.
Yeah. It's everywhere that you stream. You can listen to Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, whatever else they have. I mean, the easiest way, if they're trying to listen to the countdown, is the GeorgiaSongbirds.com, because the website is very interactive, and I love my website. Podpage does it, and it's so easy to navigate. I can do it. So if I can do it, you can do it. It's very easy. I've even got the radio station player on there now, so that you can, if you click onto the website, there's a player up there. It's got the Georgia Songbird radio going, and it has links to the poll where you can vote. It has links to the countdown where you can submit your music, because I found a way for them to do that. And that took a while to get that going. But also has a list of all of the episodes that I've done with the album reviews or just interviews or the countdown. And then if you scroll, I think it's on the right side, it tells you everywhere you can listen to it, because there's a bunch of places you can listen.
Right. And it's not doing it. Why isn't it doing it? Here we go. All right. So this is your website. You want to navigate this? Anything on here you want to show or talk about? Or
Sure, it's funny. I feel like I should be taking my mouse and moving it.
I know. I wish I could give you access. One day I'll figure that. There's a way I can do that, but I need to figure that out.
Yep. So if you look at the top, it's got the episodes. It's all the episodes that is on there, and we have, I guess, probably over how many? 223 episodes total. And
oh well, yeah.
in the beginning, I would try to put like interview, because you can put like little subcategories, interviews and countdown. Because I'm very OCD, but it got to be where it was taking so much time. I was like, I can't keep up with this. I think I was overloading the website, so I quit.
Yeah, I was like, wait, those don't add up to 223.
Nope. I quit. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore, because it was freezing it up. I actually started, like, I took it off there, but they had a thing for guest, and you could actually go to the tab that said guest, and everybody that's been on a countdown, been a guest, it had links to their social media, their Facebook, their Instagram, their website. And I'm like, this is cool, but like I said, I'm overloading the website. It's not going to handle it. So I was like, you know what? They can figure it out. It's pretty easy just to look at it.
Right.
Because you can see that on the bottom right there, now playing. So if you scroll up a little bit, you can see that's Becca Marie. She's a local Georgia artist.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. This website's really nice.
It
So
is.
Is it a template, or you had it done, or you did it, or?
Again, it was through Podpage, and it was it's kind of, I guess it was their template, And then I just started adding. The more I looked into it, I figured out certain things I could add to it. Like, so you see the Spotify playlist up there. That is, I've made for the countdown. I've made all time volumes, right? So you see like the current top 10. It's always updated. It takes you directly to the Spotify links, and then it takes you to the all time volume. There's 4 right now. I don't think I put the 4th up there yet because it's not full. But it's everybody's ever been in the countdown. If they have Spotify, that's how you can continue to listen.
Yeah, that's really. It's it's like when I do your links. I still haven't done your links yet, but that's all I need to pretty much do is do your website, and they can get to everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So
somebody asked me the SEO what I use. I'm like, I have no idea. I don't know. She said, well, you're like at the top of Google. I was like, okay, how'd you do it? I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I just post it.
Yeah, that's awesome website. And you asked me when I interviewed with you, you're like, where's you have a website? I'm like, no, that's one thing I'm lacking. I need to do that. And, my wife, she's a graphic designer and that's, some of her clients are website people. So I should be able to get one pretty easy, you would think, with her.
Yeah.
So,
the pop
anything
page is great. I mean, if you could use that because you're kind of a video podcaster, I would say. So you could probably use it if your wife couldn't get you anything, or I know she was doing a lot. So, but it's not expensive at all.
Yeah, she's slammed with clients, and I'm not a paying client. So,
right.
And if I could, I couldn't afford her.
Right.
So let's talk about. So we did your website. We talked about your podcast info. You do have a YouTube channel where you do some videos on there as well, right?
I do, and the link is again on the website. I've got the playlist. I'm not, like I said, I would love. That's why I was asking you all this question about videos, because I like the way you got your video series set up. But my problem has always been the internet. It's so bad here. But we've been talking. It seems to be okay. So maybe I can try to do that. But when I do the interviews here, right now it's a garage, but when it gets warmer, we go up to the gazebo, and it's outside, and it's even farther away from my internet. So it's like,
right. Well, you could run a hardwire over there and then put a hotspot, like a extension or something, or you could use your phone, I guess, too, as a.
Yeah, we had to do that because we have Windstream now and they suck. So we bought AT&T unlimited data, and we use hotspots for everything. So a lot of times when I do those interviews up there, it is hotspotted.
Yeah. Yeah. You want to talk about a little social media stuff?
Yeah. We're everywhere. We're on Instagram, Twitter. I don't use Twitter as much. I've kind of made Twitter more for the radio station, I think, because it's easier just to post about that and continue, because I don't know how many tweets. I ramble on, and apparently you can only get so many letters in a tweet. So I was like, okay, whatever. I don't mess with Twitter very much. We're on LinkedIn, Facebook, of course, which my son says is for old people, but you know what? I still use it. I guess I am an old person.
All right.
Yeah, that's it. We're Georgia Songbirds. You can just Georgia Songbirds on everything. On Twitter, it's T Songbirds, because they didn't. I guess Georgia Songbirds was taken, but T Songbirds on Twitter. Okay. Everything else is Georgia Songbirds.
I just got spammed on here. Hopefully, I think Scott just took care of it. Good. I don't know where that comes from. Every once in a while in an interview, like all of a sudden these chats just coming in that are not, they're spam stuff. And it's just so weird. Anything you want to add or talk about or anything?
Well, I interviewed you like you said that before. So your interview will actually come out Tuesday or Wednesday. I was telling you that. We'll get yours out, and it'll be available everywhere. We got a lot of things that we do for the Georgia Songbirds. I made a blog of everything, because there's so much that we do that I'll forget a lot because my mind goes 100 different directions. Right. But one of the things that we're starting is I own a publishing company. It's called Snuggle Bunny Publishing. It's from one of my songs, Snuggle Bunny. And I found a way, like everything I do for free. I don't get paid. You know, that's one day the dream is sponsors and say get paid on podcast, but everything I do for free. But I was like, okay, how can I help other artists too? Because I'm all about helping. I think you need to help somebody. Pay it forward.
Yeah.
It comes back to you hundredfold, and it doesn't cost you anything to help somebody. Just time. So I started this publishing company for my music because I wanted to get paid for the PRO, and I was like, how can I help other artists? Because I see all the time that a lot of songwriters don't know how to get their songs distributed, or they just don't want to fool with it. So they just play out. I was like, well, here, I'll help them. Now they can obviously do it themselves if they wanted to, but this would be like the only service I ever charge for. And right now I only charge like $25 a year. And basically it's, I'll get your song distributed. I'll take, cause I go through DistroKid for mine. So I can add onto my account. I can get the higher tier and do up to, I think 100 artists. And I don't take any songwriting credit unless me and you write the song. Then of course we'll split it, but I don't take any songwriting credit. And if you do have a PRO, then I put it under your PRO. I don't touch any of that. I'm just basically, you just pay me to distribute it for you. If you want me to set it up with a PRO, I will do it, but it will go under my publishing company, and you still keep your songwriting splits, and I keep the publisher split. And I will pitch it to, like, I got accounts with Song Trader, and I can't think the others. There's so many, but I've got Submit Hub, stuff like that, and I will submit it to sync music for you to try to get it put in movies or TV shows. And then if I'm part of the publishing part, then obviously that's going to help me. If I'm not, then it doesn't do nothing to help you. Because like I said, I'll never take any credit that I'm not given. So if you have PRO and you're a songwriter, then all you got to do is you pay me yearly to distribute it. I'm a distributor. If you don't, then okay, now I'm a publisher and a distributor, but I still won't charge you but the $25 a year. Now, one thing is, everybody asks, well, will it go up? Well, if I start getting lots of people signing with me and doing that, and I don't say signing because it's not a contract. I mean, I probably do need to get some paperwork for that, but it hadn't came up yet. But if I get you into movies and songs and I'm the publisher on it, then I get the publisher cut. If I'm not, then I got you in the door, and it didn't cost me nothing. Your time, my time. And then if I start getting a lot of successful clients that way, then yeah, I'll change the rates. They'll go up because I can say, okay, look, I did this for the so-and-so. I can say that I'm worth more anyway, but I know people where they got to start.
Yeah. It's almost like an agency, but
yeah.
But yeah, that's a good idea. Cool. So, anything else?
Probably. I just can't think of it.
I always feel bad when I like get off and like, oh man, I didn't ask him this or I didn't ask him that, and like I have my list of stuff, I go through it, and but yeah. So, and you did a good point. You said a good point about, when we do our podcast and our interviews and stuff like that, we're not making any money. People always ask me, you got to be making money on this. I'm like, no. And if I did, I'd be pouring it back into the studio or into the podcast itself,
Right.
But we're just about, we both love music and we want to share it as much as possible. Before I ever did these interviews, there'd be an artist that I liked or a new song that came out that was like probably people didn't really hear, and I'd be like, I'd post it to Facebook. You're like, hey, check out this new song that just came out. I think people, enjoy it. So I was like, I don't even know how this got started. Scott and I were talking about it one day, and I interviewed Scott, and it just kind of snowballed from there.
That's usually how it works. It's fun that way. I mean, I've had talk about like some of the people that came on. I've had, since I started doing this, I have probably 5 record companies. They're all independent companies. They're not, well, one of them is actually a little bit bigger, but they send me all kinds of music, and that goes for the countdown. I don't think I said that. You can send me any type of music. Now, there is exceptions because I do send it to other radio stations. I can't play rap or heavy metal on theirs. On my station, I can. I just can't put you in the countdown. But I also, now that you asked me about it, I started thinking about it. We got talking. As I started a new segment, New Music Mondays, and on those is anybody with the new releases. And I got the idea of talking to you. Anybody's got a release or the new song, just send it to me. Again, you have to send it to me so I can play it. Or if I have the time or I think about it, I can go buy it. I do that for a lot of people too, because it's $1. A lot of times it's $1. It doesn't cost you but $1.
Right.
But you can play it, and it's just it's to get again more people noticed. Now that's different. Once that's there, once I play that new music day, it's always at 8 o'clock on Mondays, unless operator error happened last week. But it's 8 o'clock, and it's usually 12 to 13 songs. Once they're played, then their songs are in rotation on my radio station. And like I said, I can take anything on that.
And where can people see? Is that on your podcast? Like where do they listen to that?
Yeah, it's on the podcast. So, well, actually, no, it's a radio station. That one doesn't become a podcast episode. That's the only one that's radio station only, and it's so that, like I said, I'm trying to build up the radio station. Like I said, we don't get paid for this. The way you get paid for podcasts and stations is sponsors and advertisers. That's how you get paid. Well, you got to get the numbers up before somebody can say justify paying you anything. Like the Georgia Versus series, I have sponsors now. They pay a little bit. I get a little bit of it, and I pay the rest of it to the Final Four. That's how I divided it up.
Okay.
But with the countdown and stuff, you got to get sponsors, and when you get the sponsors, that's how you make everything's paid for.
Right. So where's that radio station? Like, how can they get to the link? Is it just through the social media?
There's two ways they can do it. The easiest way is through the website. If you're on the GeorgiaSongbirds.com, the first thing you see is a little template up top. And then if you go back to the homepage, I think you just click Georgia Songbirds, it should take you there. But there on that homepage where it says now playing, that's it. Like it should update it for you. But
down the bottom.
Yeah, you see where it says Georgia Songbirds Radio.
Yeah.
So that's the easiest way to do it. You can see who's last been played. You can see who's playing, and that little cart right there on the side. If you click on that, it will take you to the artist's iMusic page or Apple Music, and you can buy their music, which I thought was cool. I thought that was a cool feature put on. That's the easiest way to get to the Georgia Songbird Radio. You can also go through Live 365. That's where I go, and I use Live 365 because they do pay royalties to the songwriters. So if your song, I can play any music I want as long as I buy it, or somebody sends it to me, because it's got to be tagged. As long as it's tagged, then that's that metadata. As long as it's tagged, then the songwriters and everybody associated will get whatever they get paid from Live 365. That's why I pay them monthly.
Right. Sorry, I'm blocking spam again. I don't know what's going on. I gotta read into how to keep that from happening. But yeah, that's awesome. So I gotta go to both of us. There's so much to navigate. Eventually Scott's gonna be like in here helping. So we just haven't practiced with that yet. So it's hard to multitask, talk, hit the buttons and all that. So I can be like, all right, Scott, you hit all the buttons and I just talk.
Get your own producer. I need one of those. My wife is going to get on my case. She's like, you do too much. I was like, well, let me start a radio station. No, I started one anyway. It's too late.
I don't know how you do as much as you do. And I know you have kids like I do. And, I have 2 kids that are into baseball, and we're just always go, go, go. And I'm hoping I'm going to be a little freed up because Parker, like I said, he's playing for Lassiter's JV team, and I don't coach that, obviously. So I have no coaching for the next couple months. So
yeah, my little son wants to play football. I got 12-year-old twins, and the boy wants to play football. He wants me to coach. So if I get in coaching, it's like, okay, now that's going to take even more time away. And which I love football. I've coached before. I mean, that was my job that I wanted growing up. I was going to be a football coach. I was going to go to Georgia Southern and do sports management and, coach college football. I didn't care about going to NFL. College was as high up as I wanted to go. That didn't happen. So I'll coach same thing when I'll play music when I can. I'll coach when I can.
Well, I really appreciate you being on here with me. And once this is over, probably tomorrow I'll put some timestamps, and I'll also do some timestamps, and I'll put all your links in the description so people
Okay.
can see those. And man, I got more spam. This is the most I've ever had.
It's because I got all those people. I get it now too. It's like that's when you're farther up because people start spamming you all kinds of like DM here, follow. No, people, I'm not doing that. No, do you really think I'm going to click on it? No.
Or the problem is if it's like inappropriate stuff they're sending,
Yeah.
like it's not good. But hopefully it doesn't show up. Cool. So once again I appreciate you being here,
Thank you for
and
having me, Chris.
let's do some more stuff. And I know we've been brainstorming on some stuff, so let's definitely do something. Even if it's every once in a blue moon, or but it'd be cool.
I wanted to ask you because Jordan's been really busy. Do you want to do some Have You Heards with me?
Yes, I would love to do that. Yeah,
Okay,
definitely.
we could do it like this, I guess. Because can you share the screen, like go to like Spotify and do stuff like that? Because that's usually what we do. Is I'll stream it through Spotify into the Have You Heard.
Yep, I can do
Perfect.
it. Definitely. So
We'll do that. So I want to thank you for coming and having me on your show. It's been different me being the one that talks and getting asked questions.
yeah, and it was I interviewed with you a couple of weeks ago, or what, it was about 3 weeks ago, and
Yep.
yeah, it was definitely different. So I appreciate you being, having. I'm glad you had me on yours, and I really appreciate that. That was awesome, and I can't wait for that to come out. So
Maybe out Tuesday or Wednesday, just depending how fast I can get it edited down.
yeah, no hurry. All right, man. Well, I appreciate it. I would, appreciate everybody watching, and everybody go straight home.
Yep. Thank you, Chris.
Uh huh.